Toronto! What a great turnout so far. My name's Cole Squire, and I'm the People's Party of Canada candidate for Brantford Brant in southwestern Ontario. Where's my Brantford Brant people out here today? So you guys, we've had a really trying last year and a half with everything that's been going on. We've been locked out of our businesses, we've been closed out of our schools, and while they were trying to tell us to wait for these vaccines to roll out, we're now seeing these vaccine passports come out. And I want to stress to everybody here, the People's Party of Canada does not care if you wear no masks, 1 mask, 2 masks, or 3 masks. You're adults, you can make your own decisions when it comes to protecting your health. Now, there's a lot of polarization in our country right now. As I said, we don't care when it comes to the masking. When it comes to the vaccinations as well, that's your choice to make as a free citizen in our country. But when it comes to the vaccine passports, that is where we draw the line. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are history buffs, but in World War II, our men and women fought and gave their lives to put an end to these show me your papers policies in Nazi Germany. And here we are in 2021 staring this type of tyranny in the face in our own land. It's absolutely egregious, and we have to hold the line. We cannot allow this to happen in our country. This is going to create 2 tiers of citizens. And this isn't going to happen on my watch, your watch, or the People's Party of Canada's watch. Now, as I said, there's a lot of polarization and division going on in our country right now. They're trying to pit us against maskers, anti-maxers, vaxxers, anti-vaxxers. This is really divisive and dangerous rhetoric that we can't allow or tolerate in our country. And you know, I don't play the identity politics card, but I am a member of the Six Nations Reserve. I'm a member of the Mohawk Nation and a proud First Nations person and a proud Canadian. Now, as I was saying, I don't like to play the identity politics card, but I will play it to dispel the woke bullshit we're seeing from the Communist Broadcasting Corporation and other fake news in Canada. Now, as I said, you guys, we can't allow them to continue to divide and polarize us. We need unity in this country like we've never seen before. Now, another little part of history. Canada was founded on the principles of mutual respect and cooperation between our First Nations people and our then British settlers that were coming over to find a new life. That type of cooperation and mutual respect built Canada, and we need that again today to save Canada. So you guys too, you might look at some of the polls. I tell people, don't look at the bad polls, only look at the good polls. And you know what, when you look at them, they're totally skewed. How they excluded our federal leader, Maxime Bernier, from participating in the federal leaders debate because he apparently thought we had some type of decline in support since the last time in the 2019 election. If anyone thinks that our momentum and our movement slowed down in the slightest since 2019, go shake your head. The purple wave did start out. It is now a purple tsunami. This tsunami is coming from the West Coast, and it's going all the way to the East Coast. Now, you guys should be proud of yourself. This is a very pivotal and important moment in our nation's history, and this wouldn't be possible without all of you guys, so give yourselves a big round of applause. It is a great honor and a privilege to be a part of this movement, and I'm very proud to be a part of such a movement with the People's Party of Canada, with Maxime Bernier. This man has stood by his guns and his principles, even if it costed him the Conservative Party leadership. But you know what? I'm happy that he left the Conservative Party of Canada, because they're now just a liberal light party. This is not only just a conservative movement, this is a movement for all freedom-loving Canadians in our country. I said, you guys all should be very, very proud of yourselves. We're fighting for the future of our country, the rights and freedoms of our future generations, and we are not going to continue to tolerate this divisive and dangerous rhetoric, whether it's coming from Justin Trudeau, Aaron O'Toole, Jagmeet Singh, or any other party leader out there. As I said, they want us to be focused on class warfare, fighting against each other, so that we're distracted from the real issues that are going on in Canada. We're not stupid. We know exactly what they're doing. This part of this global communist coup is not going to be welcomed in Canada, and we are going to hold the line. We will not be a post-national state with no core identity. We have culture and our values and our principles in our country that unite us. And as I said earlier, these are things that our men and women who served, fought to uphold, defend, and protect. And this is our generation's duty to do the same today. All right, now I don't want to take too much time, but as many of you guys know, we're gathered here today at our taxpayer-funded building, as I said, the Communist Broadcasting Corporation. We are going to defund the propagandist fake news CBC. And look, our Canadian taxpayers, we're no longer going to purchase Rosemary Barton's designer outfits anymore. So you're going to have to start shopping at Value Village or somewhere else. Yeah, you guys, Elections Canada, they've been great. There's been a lot of concerns. Unfortunately, we didn't fill all 338 ridings across Canada. We did a stronger vetting process this year. They put out the snap election to make it seem like we wouldn't be ready, but we've been gearing up for this for months and months and months. There's going to be a lot of positive surprises come September 20th. They're going to understand that we are not a fringe minority group. We are here to stay. We are going to continue building our momentum regardless what happens on Monday, September 20th. So right now, many of you guys know we're paying over $1 billion a year out of your hard-earned taxpayers' dollars to keep this failed company afloat. They have less than 30% national viewership each night, and I wonder why. Does anyone here watch the CBC at night? Does anybody think they have honest and integrative journalism coming out from the CBC? Do you think they're a little bit biased or one-sided when it comes to covering important issues in our country? Do you guys think it's fair that Canadian taxpayers foot the bill for this failed establishment that continues to prop up the Liberals and the globalists in Canada? That's right. And I said, you know what? We are a broke nation right now. We're approaching $1.5 trillion in debt. This is record debt. We can't continue to bleed our country dry. We're borrowing money from our children that aren't even born yet right now. And these types of cuts, they're not going to affect the people that rely on them the most in our country. But you know what? We can defund the CBC. We'll save Canadian taxpayers $1 billion. We will stop wasteful corporate welfare that rigs the economy and favors some businesses over others. This is going to save Canadian taxpayers anywhere between another $5 to $10 billion. And I have to point it out while I'm here. The NDP, they say that they're against the wealthy in our country. They want to have a wealth tax. Where was Jagmeet Singh or anyone from the NDP while our medium and small businesses went into bankruptcy and closed their doors over the last 18 months? They did not care about Walmart or Costco bringing in record profits. And even now with these vaccinations, some of these failing pharmaceutical companies are now seeing record profits in their margins. So this is total hypocritical of the NDP. And we're not just bringing in conservative votes. People say that PPC is just splitting the vote. We're splitting the vote from all the parties because everyone in Canada is sick and tired of what's going on in our country. So I said, I'm really proud to be able to be a candidate for the People's Party of Canada. I'm proud to have gotten to know so many wonderful candidates, such as Ian Roden here from Spadina, York. You guys, we got to get him into office, so continue reaching out, supporting your local candidates. Even back in my home riding there, we have Wendy Martin here from Oxford County. Give it up for Wendy. I'll also give a shout out to my other local candidate in my area in Haldimand, Norfolk, Ken Gilpin. They said we have patriots standing up across the country, and it's our duty to do so that we're protecting the future of our nations, our future generations, and we need to save our children in this country. We cannot allow this type of tyranny for them to grow up in. They've missed out on some of the most important milestones in their life, whether this was graduations, competing in competitive sports, or even being able to have birthday parties or enjoy having just a play date with their friends. It's unprecedented what the type of abuse we put forward to them, and what was the establishment's response? I think they said something like, oh, our children are resilient. If you look at Bell Helpline this last year, twice as many calls as the year before. 4 million children phone this helpline because they are at their wits' end right now. We need to fight for our children and protect our children. Now again, I don't like to play the identity politics, but I also have to point out a lot of the woke politicians, the media and establishment, we're quick to come out and say every child matters. No kidding, we do not need to be told that by Justin Trudeau or anyone else. But you know what else? These politicians in the media were completely silent over the harms that our children of today faced. We cannot change our history. Anyone here would agree that it was an atrocity what happened in those Indian residential schools. And do you know what else? You know how those children got to these Indian residential schools? In 1867, Alexander Mackenzie, the Liberal Prime Minister of a Liberal party, put in the racist Indian Act that put our children into these schools, segregated our First Nations peoples onto reserves, and classified us as second-class citizens in our own country. So myself, I'm going to make sure that we're continuing to educate people and fight back on this Indian Act. I think it needs to be completely abolished, and I'll have that conversation with our First Nations people. Now, well, I don't want to take too much time of you guys this afternoon. I know you're here to hear from a lot more better speakers than myself. But you know what else? The establishment, they recently passed the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Now, I had a lot of trouble with this. I never heard that term too much before, being a First Nations person. So I did a little research. I went on to Google, and I looked up, define what an Indigenous person is. And it said naturally occurring or originating from anywhere. So I said, that makes us all Indigenous in Canada. We do not need a corrupt global establishment dictating to us how we treat our people within our own country. We have a Bill of Rights. We have a Charter of Rights. We uphold human rights in our country, and we do not need the corrupt, dysfunctional United Nations telling us what to do. So I think we're going to repeal and abolish UNDRIP. I think we're also going to repeal and abolish the United Nations Paris Climate Accord, the Global Compact on Migration. And we will fight to put our citizens and our country first ahead of this corrupt global bureaucracy that is hell-bent on global communism. There's a lot riding on September 20th, and as I said, it doesn't matter. I'm sure we're going to get a few good seats into Ottawa, and some opposition is better than no opposition. The Conservatives should have done their job the last 18 months, the last few decades, to make sure that our country wasn't in such a mess that it is today. So as I said, we're going to have some strong candidates elected into Ottawa. We're going to make sure your voices are heard, our concerns are heard, and that our country remains that true north, strong and free. So as I said, this election's not over by any means. We have 5 days left to flatten the tyranny, to flatten the lies, and to save Canada. The future of our country depends on us getting some strong candidates into Ottawa to make sure that our country remains strong and free, and that we're not going to continue to succumb to these globalist, divisive ideologies that they're pushing out so far. Now I have to quote this while I'm here too. I believe President Donald Trump. What do you guys think of him out here? I know he's a polarizing guy, but he tells it like it is. And you know what? I like when he said, everything woke turns to shit. And that's what we're seeing in our country right now. No more of this woke virtue signaling identity politics. We treat all Canadians equally. We don't care about your race or your ethnicity, your sexual orientation, or your personal religious ideologies, or whether you have a vaccination or not. You know, these things, they are important puzzle pieces to your overall self. But we care about your character, we care about your integrity, and most of all, we care that you will stand up to make sure Canada remains a free and prosperous country for everybody in our land. Thank you, guys.